Hello, it's Charles with Uber Eats. Today is Sunday, the 21st of September, 2025, and I am blessed today because I received the gift of tomorrow with God's wake-up call. And you're seeing and hearing this, so you're equally blessed as me because you received the gift of tomorrow with your wake-up call, and you got to see another day. I'm parked in a different spot this morning. I couldn't park in my normal spot at the McDonald's. I park in the back area of their lot normally. And there's several cars parked there, and there's one in my particular spot. I could have parked, there was still a couple spots left, but I didn't want to get crowded in there. It looks like people, a few of the cars were running, and they had those sunshades up over their windshield, and they had all their windows blocked. A few of them did. So I think some people are sleeping in their car, or living in their car. Now, there was a ever since I started going to this McDonald's, there's been a white large white SUV. I think it's a Nissan that's been there since I started going to the McDonald's, and it's sometimes it's running and sometimes it's not, but the windows are always covered up. So I know for certain that somebody's living out of that particular vehicle, but now there's more there camping out. Not casting any judgment on them, but I just had to park somewhere else is the only reason I'm bringing that up. I've already been inside and got my free cup of ice in my Thornton's cup, and in fact, I've been to the Circle K by my camper, and I got a whole full cup of ice. I used their Circle K cup, but I don't have any problem using their cup as long as I can show them that I'm bringing it in, and that I did over there. I said I'm bringing in my own cup, and I showed them that I had it in my hand. I didn't want to create any confusion that I was using one of their cups that was already there, so that's why I pointed that out to them. So I got plenty of fluids to drink this morning to stay hydrated. This morning I'm gonna have my Monster Rehab tea and lemonade, and tomorrow I had a can of peach tea, but I ended up drinking that last night. I got thirsty and I had nothing to drink in the camper, so I brought that can with me to remind me that I need to get more of it. I won't have any drink tomorrow unless I replenish my stock today somewhere, so I need to go and run into the Circle K here again and get some more cans of the Rehab. Gas prices here at the Circle K are at $3.06 now. That's 2 cents cheaper from yesterday, so it's gas is still continuing to drop down, at least at this Circle K that I'm at, that I like to go to get gas generally. And according to AAA this morning, the national average for gas in the United States is at $3.18. So Tampa is beating the national average now by 12 cents. And Gas Buddy states that Florida's state average is $3.11. So Tampa is beating Florida's state average by, what's that, 5 cents? Yeah, 5 cents a gallon. I checked Florida's lottery website this morning to get the Powerball numbers, and no one hit it. The jackpot for tomorrow night, Monday night, is now up to 113 million, and the winning numbers from yesterday, Saturday, was 15, 29, 64, 66, 67, and a Powerball of 4. I didn't hit anything. I played my normal numbers: 14, 22, 25, 37, 49, and 23. And I ended up losing that ticket for a while. I found it later on in the day. I had wadded up all my notes from the video I did yesterday, and I assumed that I wadded the ticket up and threw it away. So I went next door. I had left this gas station in the McDonald's when I realized I had thrown it away, but I didn't. I ended up finding it later in the day. But anyway, I went to the 7-Eleven across the street, and I bought another ticket. I filled out a bet card. I couldn't remember. I always use my old ticket to to buy a new one. Once I find out a ticket's not a winner, I save it until I buy another ticket, and I just copy the number over. Well, I wasn't able to do that. So I had to watch one of my old videos and write down the number from the video onto a napkin. And then I moved it over to a bet card. Well, I went over to the 7-Eleven and showed him, I handed the guy the bet card. I said, I want to play this, and I had $2 in my hand. Well, he apparently is new over there at the 7-Eleven. He didn't know how to run a bet card through there. And he went back to get his manager. And I guess he didn't explain to her fully what I was wanting, because when she came out, she asked me if I wanted anything extra on it, and they don't normally ask that, because you fill that out on the bet card, whether you want the bonus ball or extra plays on there or anything like that. I said, no, I just want to pay you $2 and get my Powerball ticket. Well, she hit the button on there for the computer to pick it, and that wasn't right. She should have run the bet card, and that's mostly his fault. He should have explained to her that I had a bet card. Well, so she's got this ticket, and once you print a Powerball ticket or a mega ticket, you can't void it. You've lost that $2 unless you can sell it. So she realized her mistake once she saw the bet card in his hand, and then she run the bet card through there. Well, I told her, I said, hey, I want to buy that mistake, because it could end up being a winner too. It wasn't, unfortunately, but that ticket that she printed was, the computer picked it, of course. It was 6, 35, 53, 54, 64, 22, and I thought that looked like good numbers, and I'm like, that's just likely to win as my numbers that I play. But it was a loser nonetheless. And while I was there, I also played, I didn't buy one yesterday, but the day before, but I bought one yesterday. I bought another one of these, 500 a week for life for 25 years. This one was number 25 on the roll. To get a swig. I didn't hit anything. My winning number I revealed was 17, and the lucky for life prize was tied to number 6. So that is on every ticket. Now that I see that, you have an opportunity to win that on every ticket. And then if I had 4 as my winning number, I would have won 1,000. The number 8 would have won me 200. Number 10 would have won me 5, and number 11 would have won me 4. But I didn't hit anything. Again, that's 3 tickets now. I've bought that and haven't won anything on them. I mentioned that I ended up buying a second one of these tickets because I thought I had lost that. Well, later in the day yesterday, after I had bought that other ticket to replace it, I ended up finding the first ticket in the back of my car with another sheet of notes that I had intended on throwing away. So I had 2 copies of that ticket. I intended on giving that to somebody over the course of the day, because I don't need 2 of the same ticket. But I never got around to it until I was at the Circle K by my camper, and it still didn't occur to me to give it to anybody in the Circle K until I went in there. And I bought they have this meal deal where you get a hot dog, a small bag of chips, and one of these size drinks. I guess you can get any size drink you want. They don't bother. They don't say I can't get a large cup, so I always get the largest I can get there. Well, about 3 or 4 days ago, I was in there, maybe not even that long, and they have coleslaw, onions, mustard and ketchup, of course, salt and pepper, and I think jalapeno peppers too, you can put on your hot dog. I've never been into a Circle K or any gas station for that matter that has coleslaw as a topping, and it never would have occurred to me to use coleslaw on a topping for a hot dog. I've never heard of that before. I think it's just a southern Florida thing, because I've been in Ohio. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I'm not familiar with it there. I've been out to Vegas, Oklahoma City, and Texas now, and I haven't seen that anywhere. And I know they don't have it at the Circle K in Edinburgh, because there was a lap there by the house that I used to live in, and there's a Circle K on the far corner. farthest corner from that lap. And I always used to stop in there and get ice or use the restroom, and so I'm familiar with their toppings at that 7-Eleven. But I say all that to say, to get to my point, the last time I was in there, which was 2 or 3 days ago, they were out of coleslaw, and I've come to find out that I love coleslaw on my hot dogs. And I mentioned it to the manager. I said, "You don't have any coleslaw in the back that you can add to your hot dog bar, do you?" And she said, "No, we're all out, but we get a truck in tonight." And that was that would have made it Thursday night or Friday night. Well, I came in there yesterday and I said, "You're still out of coleslaw." And it was the same manager that told me that she would have more in on the truck. Well, I said I was really looking forward to getting coleslaw on my hot dog, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it didn't come in on the truck." She told me why, but I can't remember what she said. I got a hot dog anyway. I would have gotten one. I was in the mood for a hot dog, and not having coleslaw on it wasn't going to deter me from doing that. So I went ahead and doctored up the hot dog as best as I could with onions. I don't like jalapenos, but I put onions, mustard, and ketchup on there, and a little bit of pepper and salt. And I had barbecue chips and a large Diet Dr. Pepper for my drink. Well, I get up there to the counter, and I had, it comes to $3.16, I think, with tax, and I had $4 in my hand, and she wouldn't take it. Normally she reaches out her hand. I said, here's the $4 for my hot dog. And she said, "It's free today." I said, "Why is that?" She goes, I feel bad for not having coleslaw," and I still tried to insist on giving her my money, and she wouldn't take it. So I got a free hot dog and chips and drink yesterday. And I got out to my car to eat it, because I don't like bringing anything into the camper. I always eat, whenever I get a hot dog and chips there, I always eat it out in my car before I leave the gas station. And I was sitting there eating, and I'm like, this would be a good opportunity for me to get rid of that lottery ticket. And as a way to repay her. It's not a very good way to repay her for just having a chance to win the Powerball, but it was better than nothing. So I took that ticket into her, and I said, here's a chance for you to win millions of dollars on tonight's drawing. And she laughed, about it. And she took it, and she just looked it over to make sure it was for tonight's drawing. And she thanked me. She goes, "That was nice of you." And I said, "Well, it was the least I could do for somebody giving me a free hot dog and chips and a drink." And she laughed. I checked with Google this morning, and according to that, we can expect a high temperature today in beautiful Tampa, Florida of 92 degrees and sunny skies all day today. And pretty much the same tomorrow. Sunny skies, no chance of rain, and a high temperature of 92 tomorrow, I believe it said. And I also watched, I watched like 1 or 2 episodes of Two Broke Girls, but then it started showing me the next episode. Those 2 episodes I hadn't seen before, at least recently. I probably have seen all the episodes of Two Broke Girls at some point, but recently I haven't seen these 2, the first 2 that aired. But then that third episode of Two Broke Girls that came up, I had seen recently since I've been here in Tampa, Florida. So I decided to switch over to the local news here in Tampa. It's Fox 13 Tampa, and I was watching the weather, and according to their meteorologist, Nash Rhodes, R-H-O-D-E-S, Nash Rhodes, he also said that the high temperature today in Tampa, Florida is going to be 92 degrees, but he called for a 20 to 30% chance of rain in the early afternoon. So his forecast was a little bit different in terms of the rain. He also said tomorrow we can expect a high temperature of 92 degrees, just like Google said. His forecast, that Nash Rhodes guy said, had a segment in his forecast about this tropical storm that's formed out in the Atlantic Ocean. It could be a hurricane at this point. Now that it's Sunday, he said that hurricane Gabrielle has formed on the 17th of September, but it's likely to only be a hurricane, At most a category 2, likely to only be a category 1, small chance it'll be a category 2, so it's not going to be much of a hurricane, and it's not going to even make landfall. It's not going to come nearly as close as even Hurricane Aaron did. Hurricane Aaron never made landfall, but it did create significant flooding on the East Coast. From the Carolinas up through New England, I believe he said. He talked about the Hurricane Aaron too when he was comparing it to Hurricane Gabrielle, which is probably a hurricane at this point. It was a tropical storm yesterday, and he said over Saturday night into Sunday, it was likely to become a hurricane with projected sustained winds of over 74 miles an hour. So, but like I said, it's not gonna make landfall anywhere, especially in the United States. It's gonna arc up and go back eastward. So I like the sound of that. While I'm thinking of it, before I moved here from Texas, I looked into the hurricane season, 2025 hurricane season, and according to NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Association, I think that's what NOAA stands for, they said that 2025 is going to be a very active hurricane season. You know, more active than most is what it said, but that's not been the case so far. From what I've seen, we've only had one named hurricane, and if Gabrielle becomes a hurricane, that'll be only two. There's only been two named hurricanes so far this season, and that's not an active season. When you consider that the hurricane season runs from June 1st through the end of November, that's 6 months, and we've got 2 months and 2 weeks left. 2 months and 10 days left in the hurricane season. You know, the rest of September, then you've got October and November. That's not much of a hurricane season left. So, you know, if you ask me, it's been a pretty tame hurricane season. So the NOAA had that wrong. I did go to the plasma center yesterday like I had planned after going to the buffet. I ended up going to I was thinking about going and having a rotisserie chicken from the grocery store down here, Winn-Dixie. I was having a hard time remembering what it was called. Winn-Dixie, W-I-N-N Dixie, D-I-X-I-E. But I wanted to check out the Golden Corral because it's been a while since I've been to a Golden Corral, and I wanted to refamiliarize myself with what they offer, especially on breakfast. You know, when they have breakfast in the mornings on Saturday and Sunday. I had always went to Golden Corral for lunch and just had their regular dinner time meals, and I don't know that I've ever been to a Golden Corral on the weekend, you know. And I didn't know they had breakfast. I knew they had breakfast on Sundays, but I didn't know they did it on Saturday. But nonetheless, I went there yesterday with the intention on eating as many meat items as I could and getting as much protein as I could. And there was plenty of opportunity for that. They've got a full salad bar. You know, you can get everything, all the fixing for a salad bar, except they didn't have chicken. Normally during lunchtime hours, they have shredded or cubed chicken that you can put on your salad. They didn't have that, but everything else you could want for a salad they had there. Then you've got a full dessert bar with pecan pie, banana pudding, jello, cotton candy, vanilla ice cream, chocolate ice cream, cookies. You can get a chocolate chip cookies, raisin and oatmeal cookies, all kinds of pie. They have apple pie, all the toppings that you could think of to put on your ice cream. Little cupcakes, chocolate cupcakes, red velvet cake with whipped cream on top, pudding, and you know, they have all sorts of dessert items that you wouldn't normally think of with going to have breakfast, but they have that there, you know. And then of course they've got all the breakfast meats: sausage, bacon, ham, biscuits and gravy. They got potato wedges that you can put gravy on, waffles, pancakes. They even have a person standing there that you can make an omelet. You can have onion, tomato, jalapeno peppers put in your omelet, cheese, of course. And I had that lady make me an omelet. I put everything in there that I could. Mushrooms. I put everything, all the toppings in there that you could want in an omelet. But I don't like jalapeno peppers, so I didn't have her put any of that in there. But she made a great omelet. And I liked, oh, they even had fried chicken. I guess they do that because of the waffles, chicken and waffles. Sometimes people like chicken and waffles, so they had fried chicken there. That was another thing I didn't really think of for a breakfast item, but it kind of made sense once I thought about it. But I pretty much liked everything there, all their offerings, and I felt like I got enough protein into my diet to suffice for to make my protein acceptable at the plasma center. The only thing I didn't like there was their pancakes. Their pancakes were too underdone. They were too doughy and undercooked in the middle, underfried, or however you want to put it. So that was the only thing I didn't really care for there. It was a good value. It was like $15.01 with tax, and coffee was included. Usually when you go to these places, you have to pay extra for the coffee, but that was included in the deal. So I was happy with the price, and I gave them a good Google review. I didn't mention how their pancakes were undercooked, because some people like that. That's just a personal preference of mine. So I didn't think it would be necessary or appropriate for me to mention how I didn't care for their pancakes, because overall I had a good experience there. Their restrooms were clean. My waitress was very pleasant and she made sure my coffee was always full, so I gave them a 5-star review. And I think I posted 2 or 3 pictures. I'll have to check that. I've got it in my notes when I cover my Google reviews and my Google scores. But immediately after the buffet, I went to the plasma center, fully intending and hoping that I'd be able to do a plasma draw. But I went up to the lady and she stuck my finger. She checked my blood pressure. My blood pressure was 117/86, which is normally what it is. My bottom number is usually a little bit above 80, but my high number, I think it's my systolic, is always lower than 120. So I was happy with that. My temperature was 98.4 and 98.2, a little bit low. My weight was where I expected it to be. It's still too high, which I need to get back into fasting again. I haven't been good at fasting probably since the week before I left for the family reunion, and I really got off track when I was in Southern Ohio, and I've remained off track. So I need to get back into the mindset of fasting and doing those prolonged fasts like I had been doing, the rolling 48s and 72s. I need to get back on track with that and get my weight back in line. So I'm closer to 140, because that's where I feel my best, is around 140 pounds. But anyway, I didn't even get to the point where they check my blood for iron and protein. I didn't even get that far. What this KED plasma they do there that they weren't doing at Grifols in McAllen, Texas, is they check your blood for hydration and see if you've got too much fat in your blood. Well, apparently I've got too much fat in my blood, and I'm not hydrated enough. You can have fat in your blood, but if you are overhydrated or well hydrated, that will fix that problem. Well, I was underhydrated, and it exposed extra fat in my blood. She asked me what I've been eating, and I said I think I've been eating fairly well. I've been eating at McDonald's a lot more, which isn't the best, but I told her mostly I've been eating at this halal place called I can't say the name of it here because I don't want to put that out there. I don't want to expose where I've been eating, because I like it, and I don't want to put any bad word on. I don't want to put that out there and jeopardize them screwing up my food there. But anyway, I told her the name of the place I've been going, and she said, that they put oils and stuff in the rice there, and that could be putting extra fat in your blood. And I said, I didn't know that. And she said, overall, that type of food is healthy, but it will put fat in your blood, you know. And she said that will cause you to be disqualified for giving plasma donations. And so that's why I didn't get to go yesterday. She said, we're going to have to defer you for 2 days, which would make it tomorrow. Monday, I can go back. And they gave me this deferral card, which it says on there, it says plasma lipemic, Lipemic, which I think means fat in my blood. It's going to be, if I could bring this card back tomorrow, it's going to give me a $5 bonus on top of what they would have already paid me. So I am going to attempt another plasma draw tomorrow. I'm not going to eat anything special. I'm not going to, because I kind of made myself sick at the buffet yesterday, eating so much meat and just eating so much in general. I don't want to get back to doing that again. I'm going to eat like I want to eat. If I'm craving something, I'm going to eat it. But I'm not going to eat large amounts of protein just to try to get a plasma draw in. If I can do a plasma draw, fine. If my protein isn't where it needs to be, I just won't do a plasma draw that day. Because I really like this food truck I've been going to, where I get fried rice, seasoned chicken, and it's delicious seasoned chicken, moist but still crispy on the outside. I just love what they do at this new food truck I've been going to, and I don't want to just stuff myself with protein just to hopefully do a plasma draw. That doesn't make sense to me. And it's getting me off track with my fasting. What I want to get back to fasting, and if I'm going to a buffet just for the purpose of stuffing myself with a protein, and that's getting me off track with my fasting, and I don't want to do that. I checked all my scores from my Google scores, my Reddit scores, and my Uber Eats scores this morning, and compared them to where I was in the video, what I did the day before from the business I did, would have been, well, on Friday. And yesterday, my Google scores went up. I was at 69.17 points. I gained 24 points from doing that Google review at the Golden Corral. I'm now at 69.41. My reviews went up to 201. I was at 200. I uploaded 2 pictures from Golden Corral. Now I've got 506 pictures loaded on Google. And my views went up. I went up from... I increased in my picture views 13,260. So now I'm at 2,258,517 views on Google of all my pictures that I've uploaded. And my Reddit karma went down actually from 856 to 855. I know some of the Redditors on my Uber Eats posts that I've been putting are still downvoting me, because I know the one recent Reddit post I put on there, I've got like 5 or 6 upvotes. So some Reddit post I've got on there is counteracting that and driving that back down, which is frustrating to me. It'll eventually stop. Once people lose interest in whatever post they're downvoting me on, my Reddit karma will start going up. It just hasn't done that yet. And my comments have went up. My Reddit contributions have went up to 47 posts now, I believe. Yeah. No, 287. I was at 287 posts. I've increased by 7. So now I'm at 294, and that breaks down. I found out that you can drill into that and see how that is increasing. I've got it on here somewhere. 47 posts. I'm at 47 posts now and 287 comments. That's how that adds up. And while I'm still on my Reddit segment, I know the one of the posts, the only post I did yesterday was related to a tip baiter. I was tip baited yesterday in one of my Uber Eats deliveries for the first time. Technically speaking, in a way of speaking, I've been tip baited twice, but the one person that recently offered me a tip, that wasn't technically a tip bait, because I didn't accept the order because of what I was going to get paid from the customer. I only found out that they were going to give me an additional amount once I arrived there. Then they didn't end up doing it. So technically speaking, that wasn't a tip bait. Strictly speaking, this is the first time I've been ever tip baited, and that happened to me yesterday, and I did a Reddit post on it. The title of the post was "My First Tip Bait," and then I took a screenshot of the customer's order. The only thing I had to cover up in that, I covered it up with a smiley face. When it wasn't a smiley face, it was a crying face, and I covered up the address, I believe is what I had to cover up on there. I didn't want to reveal the customer's general location. And I wrote on there in the body of the Reddit post to my Uber Eats subreddit, I wrote, says the estimate of this trip was $9.06. That's what the screenshot says. It says, including any upfront tip, but the customer reduced the tip after delivery. I put a crying face emoji over the address of the customer, and then in the body of the text I wrote, I texted them that I was on the way there to deliver their food. I arrived to the house 3 minutes early. I followed all their delivery instructions, which was not to knock on their door. And I text them, have a great day, when I dropped off their food. I did nothing wrong. I followed everything they asked me to do. And then I said, why do people do this? To save $2? Question mark. And then I checked later on in the day, and I think I had 2 or 3 people respond to me. I had 3 people respond. Outrageous Leg 193 wrote, keep taking these out orders. It's good volunteer work for you. That was a funny comment. And I responded, you are right. I should have never taken that garbage order. And then Big Consideration 4214 responded to me, I wouldn't have taken that for $9. And then I responded, yeah, I regret taking it now. I was bored or would not have taken it. And then Scythe 351 responded, bad offer to begin with, and the person couldn't even bother giving you a $3 tip. And then I wrote, I wouldn't have taken it had I known they were going to tip bait me. I didn't have any upvotes on that comment yet, but I already had 951 views on it, so I suspect by the end of today I will have gotten some upvotes on that comment. And finally, my Uber Eats scores have improved. I thought my my on time would go back, would start increasing, because I started doing something a little bit different with my deliveries. Based on what I read from Uber Eats, my Uber Eats driver subreddit said somebody on there posted that they are starting to wait until they're out in their car and they have started their car up and have started moving, and then they hit that button that says that they're on their way to the customer, onto their next stop, and they insist that will help your on-time rating. Well, I did that all day yesterday, and my number still went down. My on-time score went down to 73. It was at 78, I believe. It dropped 5 more percentage points. And then my satisfaction still is at 97%. My cancels went down by 2%, I believe. I think I took better notes on this. Yeah, I took better notes on how I did on Uber on this other side here. Yeah, I went from 6% down to 8% cancels. And my satisfaction is still at 97%. My I'm still a platinum driver. My on-time percent was 78. It went down 5 to 73, which is surprising. It should have at least stayed the same, but I'm going to continue doing that. And I'm assuming over time that 78, 73 will go back up. And I would be happy if it got up to 80%. If I could stay at 80% or better I would be happy with that. And my acceptance went up from 54 to 56 now. And then those 5 metrics that they track, I was at 319. Deliver with care was 319. Now I'm at 320. My quick and efficient went up from 275 to 276. My friendly score went up too, from 274 to 276. My perfect handoff went up from 257 to 258, and my good communicator went up from 239 to 241, 2 more points. So I think overall, I think customers are going to be more happy with me arriving at a faster pace, and that might influence all those scores to go up. We'll see. Time will tell. I had another decent day on the app. Of course, Saturdays are generally expected to be good. I had 11 trips, but like I said, I had to cancel 2 of them. I don't remember what the reason one of them got canceled, but I know the other one got canceled because it was a food truck. I get to the pickup location and it's a food truck and there's nobody there. In fact, the restaurant that was tied to the food truck was also closed. It said soon to open on the front of the store, and I knocked on the door of the food truck and I could pretty much tell it was closed. All the lights were off, but I knocked just in case anybody was in there and no one came. So that's why I had to cancel that one order. All the orders that I took were all singles, which is also unusual. Now the first trip was that order that I got tip baited on. It was for Tara's Roti shop on North 30th Street for Judy. Jody's order was a $6.54 fare, and she had promised to tip me $2.51, but she removed that. So I didn't make $9.06. I made whatever, $9.06 minus $2.52, that's I made $6.54 on that trip. And then my second trip of the day was to a Chick-fil-A on Charles Humphrey for James. That was a $2 fare, and James tipped me $5.50 for a total of $7.50. And then I went to the same Chick-fil-A again on Charles Humphrey for Megan. That was also a $2 fare, and Megan tipped me $6.92 for a total of $8.92. And then after that, my fourth trip was to Faux 813 on Henderson Boulevard for Micah. That was a $3 fare, and Micah tipped me $6.02 for a total of $9.02. And I think in between there and the Little Caesars was the second cancel, if I remember. I didn't write it down, but I'm pretty sure that's when that other cancel happened. One of the cancels to the food truck. I canceled a food truck order. And then, so Little Caesars, that was a Little Caesars trip, my fifth one, on Hillsborough for Martha. Martha's order was a $2 fare, and Martha tipped me $7.50 for a total of $9.50. And then I had the sixth trip was to a Starbucks on St. Croix Boulevard or Road, I don't know, for Sophia, and that was a $2 fare. Sophia tipped me $5.51. All these are good. I wasn't getting consistent tips like this in McAllen, I can tell you that much. I did good out in Las Vegas, but Tampa, like I predicted, has been very good for tips and just overall income. I figured that out from watching a YouTuber that lives here and delivers in Tampa, Florida. I figured that out by watching her YouTube. She goes by the handle Meaty Mama, Meaty Mama. She has a YouTube channel. I learned that from her watching her videos. Sophia tipped me $5.51, so I made $7.51 on that trip. And then my seventh delivery was to Cousin Vinny Sandwiches on Inner Bay Boulevard for Yanni. Yanni tipped me $4.92 on a fare of $2, so I made $6.92 there. And then my 8th trip was to the Chick-fil-A on East Fowler. I go to that Chick-fil-A probably every day when I'm delivering. And Susan's order was a $2 fare and she tipped me $6.41, so I made $8.41 on that trip. And then my last trip of the day was to the Starbucks on East Fowler for Jordan. Jordan's order was a $2 fare and he tipped me $6.52, so I made $8.52 on that trip. Well, I'm gonna close this out soon. It just occurred to me I didn't say what the sunrise time was today. According to Google, the sunrise time is 7:18 a.m. today here in Tampa, Florida, and the time right now is 4:01. So that means we've got 3 hours and 17 minutes, more or less, until the sun comes up here in beautiful Tampa, Florida. Well, I want to let you know what I've got planned for today. I'm gonna go into McDonald's and have my normal 2 sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffins and a senior coffee with about 2 or 3 refills, and use my coupon, my survey, to get a buy one get one free. And then I'm gonna hopefully get some good earnings on my Uber Eats app. I want to do at least between 9 and 12 deliveries today. Sunday's generally the best day to make money on the Uber Eats app, so I'm going to do my best today with that. And then I'm going to, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go to that halal food truck that I've been going to and get their chicken and rice dish that I've been getting there. And then I'm going to head back to my camper and unwind and watch some YouTube and probably watch the Weather Channel again, that local, I think it's Tampa Bay 13 on my smart TV I've got in my bedroom. I want to thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you all. I hope you are having a great day wherever you're at and are as well rested as I am. I had a great night's sleep in the camper last night. I feel great today. I'm ready to take on the day. I want to let you know that it makes me very happy and fulfilled that I get to use this YouTube channel to share my day, my interests, things I do and my struggles. And it makes me especially happy that I can share my love and devotion for God and what God has done, having God in my life has done for me, and it's helped me overcome struggles and get over my alcohol addiction I had. And it also pleases me and makes me happy to share my love of Jesus Christ, my Savior and my advocate, and how much it's meant to me. That time I spent in Las Vegas and getting baptized is something that I'll never forget. It's a very special time that I had in Vegas, and I really miss going to that church out there. But it's something, like I said, it's something I'll never forget, and it's something nobody can ever take away from me, is getting baptized out there in Vegas. It's God's love and my following God and believing in God is what helped me break a horrible alcohol addiction I had. I started drinking before I was even allowed. I wasn't even supposed to be drinking it. I was drinking heavy in high school, before I was 21. And God helped me overcome that. My believing in Him and believing in the higher power of God and trusting in God's guidance and love is what helped me break that horrible addiction I had to alcohol. And I want to remind you, if you're struggling with something and you think alcohol is the solution, it's not. It might seem like a solution, but it's a temporary solution. The only answer to breaking an alcohol addiction is God. God loves you, and He can help you break your addiction to alcohol or drug. Even if it's drugs, He can help you with that. Your battle with drugs and alcohol, He can help you get over that and overcome it. God can help you. God does great works for those that love Him and believe in Him. God has great intentions for people that love him and believe in him. And he can turn your life, or any struggles you have, big or small, God can turn those around and help you. And that's what I've found out from rebuilding my relationship with Jesus Christ, my Savior and my advocate, and having a close relationship with God and believing in God. Any struggle I have, I lean on God, and I pray to God, and it's alleviated. Any problem if I had it, talking it over with God and praying to God has helped me overcome any struggle I have. And I know he can do the same for you. I have no doubt in that. Thank you again, and God bless you, and I hope you're having a great day just like I am. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.